If you're one of those people who want a world where no one can express a personal opinion about anything, then you can go ahead and like this video and go watch something else. Okay, for the rest of you, but wisdom is justified of her children. That's Jesus talking. This is a motion picture. it is moving pictures, but this is a lesson on bullying, clarification amidst lies, bullying. This has popped up, I think, within the last 8-10 years, and there's a lot of false teaching, a lot of false doctrine on bullying. So we're going to use what Jesus said, wisdom is justified of her children, and we're going to talk about bullying, clarification amidst lies, what is bullying, what is not, and let's start. First of all, there's 4 types of bullying. Really 3 in the natural realm and mental realm, but there's really 4 total. 1, there's child-on-child bullying. 2, there's adult-on-child bullying, which is what we do refer to as abuse. Parents, teachers, coaches, you know, things like that. 3, there is adult-on-adult bullying. Now that happens inside of workplaces, that happens in the home where you have spousal abuse, you know, that happens when, you know, someone is 2 adults. Yes, that exists too. And 4, there is child-on-adult bullying, which really mostly falls under, it's not really a child who's running the house. You know, they let the little kid do whatever he wants to. He throws a tantrum and you don't know how to discipline your child. That's not what we're referring to. What I'm referring to is like if the child's, I've heard of this, the child's demon possessed. And if everyone in the house is afraid, I don't know, you might have seen some TV shows about that. When you have adults afraid of a child, like for instance Hitler, when the Hitler Youth had so much control that they could tell the parents to, you know, the parents were afraid to do anything because the kids were informing on their parents. That creates child-adult abuse where the child is the one abusing the adult. So I mean, mostly it's really in extreme circumstances or mostly spiritual when, you know, a child's demon possessed. But let's start. Bullying, clarification amidst lies. 1, know what bullying is and what it is not. Bullying is not disagreement. Bullying is not someone calling someone a name one time. Bullying is not to, you know, someone, they have a spat, a disagreement. That is not bullying. Bullying, and listen, what is a bully? You go back to what it was before, that one person who comes and tries to get the lunch money. Bullying is when you single out a person repeatedly. That is what bullying is. Someone who repeatedly singles out a person or a group of persons to, you know, dominate them, make them feel insignificant, express their, you know, power over that person. That is what bullying is. Someone calling little Johnny a name one time is not bullying. They just call him a name. I mean, come on. It's true. Just because someone calls someone a name does not mean they're bullying that person. That's a lie. Just because someone disagrees with someone's personal worldviews does not mean they're a bully. Now, listen, if someone calls little Johnny a name every single day, you know, comes down the steps in the school, goes to the 2nd floor, goes to his classroom every day to make little Johnny's life hard, that is bullying. Not if, you know, or if, you know, I was thinking about that, you know, that's when you isolate trying to do that. Or if someone comes down and seeks out that person to call them a name, or if you're someone who has a, you know, their parents think the world and universe runs differently than, you know, the other person, and so they have an argument, but they argue every single day, or they might not really argue every day. Argument's not bullying. But if they seek out that person because they disagree with the person every day and make that person's life hard, that is bullying. Disagreement is not bullying. If you go and create a problem, if you seek out the person, that is bullying. You have to know the difference. Don't lie. Okay? Don't let someone lie to you. Calling someone a name is not bullying. Know what bullying is and what it is not. Do not lie and misuse the word bully if it's not what bullying is. We all saw that movie where that kid every single day home from school ran and then the person turned around and beat up the person. You know, you remember at the end, I don't know, maybe you haven't all seen this, but it was a particular motion picture. Every day on the way home from school, the person singled out that person, ran after him. That's a bully, okay? Or a parent, somebody who, you know, is waiting to pounce on a child, that's a bully. Or a teacher who just likes making, you know, a professor, just likes making things hard for the class. You know, oh, I'm just going to do this to you. There are some teachers who are insecure and they actually do that. They make the class in school hard for no reason whatsoever. Why? Because they're pushing down, oppressing someone. That's what a bully does. Okay? They're oppressing someone, whatever. 2, know the source. So that's 1, know what bullying is and what it isn't. 2, know the source of bullying to get rid of the problem. 1, the perpetrator might have an issue. Now this is the general usage of bullying. Yes, the person who is doing it has an issue. The person who comes downstairs and goes and finds that person in school, the person who goes out his way 5 miles, that's an issue. The person who's like, I will take this person's resume, you know, if it's a boss, let me handle the resume because I don't like this person, so I'm gonna make their life hard. Now listen, if the person's doing bad job, bad work, that's, and you know, they give them a bad thing, that's not bullying, okay? So, I mean, but if they go out their way, let me go put this person, you know, you clean up the aisle spill. They always find, you tell that one person to clean up the spill every single time because the person doesn't like him or he's jealous. That is one source, which is the perpetrator. If the kid is doing it, if the person who is picking on the person, singling out the person, that is the bully. That is what happens. So you have to know that. 2, this is the one that most people don't use and don't like. But you have to understand, sometimes the victim has the issue. Sometimes the person who is getting bullied, for instance, calling the person stupid or looking down on them. Hey, listen, I've seen movies and we've run across things in life where the person who is weaker creates something on their own and it backfires on them. Calls the person a name. I saw a movie where someone said something, they wrote a note about somebody who was bigger than them. The person heard about it and came and, you know, knocked them out. But see, the people who aren't paying attention, if they think that the person who knocked them out, you can't always say, oh, the bigger person was a bully. No, the little person started it. I'll say Johnny. If little Johnny runs around with a superior nose to everybody and calls the athlete stupid, oh, they're just dumb jocks or something, don't act shocked if the jocks don't like little Johnny. But if they if they come after little Johnny because he throws paint on their thing, you know, during their practice, he just throws paint on their uniforms. Oh, they're stupid. Let's trash the locker room. Well, if they come after little Johnny, they shouldn't come after little Johnny. You should teach respect. But if little Johnny's causing it, and you have to understand that sometimes people are causing it. I'm not going to say anything else about that. So, 1, know what bullying is and what it isn't. 2, know the source of the problem. Listen, don't cry bully if you're the one causing the problem. Hey, listen, don't go if you got 19 people in the classroom and you're number 20 and you know that the 19 people in the class think a certain way about a football team. Don't you walk up inside wearing the rival shirt and then cry persecution, persecution, and then the teacher's like, everybody needs to, no, see, that's a problem. The little person, the one person is causing a problem from the group. That's why we have a democracy. You know, the people set the laws. You know, but if you're in a room with 19 people and you walk in and they like one team and you purposely put on the rival thing because you're separate, you're independent, and everybody needs to have their own way of thought. I mean, come on, what's the deal? Now, they shouldn't beat on the person or make fun of the person. That's, you know, that's different. Now, if they all make fun of the person and say, boo on the team one time, that's not bullying, they're just jesting. But if they do it every single day, that's an issue. But if the one person doing it is causing it, that's an issue. You need to know. We're not talking about someone who accidentally does it. But if you have a person who knows everybody's cheering for this one team and they purposely don't like that particular sport, but they're going to wear the other team's shirt just to cause it, that's a problem. And that's how you have, is almost reverse bullying. But you have to understand that if they're the cause of it, you can't chastise the other 19 people and say, let him wear that shirt if they're really the one who's causing it. That's why you need the Holy Spirit of God. Because that person might have a personal problem themselves. They might be having a bad life at home where they have no control, so they create a situation, you know, that duplicates home. you know, they do stuff that makes people treat them the same way they get treated at home. So, but don't cry bully if you're the one causing it. So do not go run up. Don't run up inside that classroom. Don't run up in there and cause a problem and then cry bully if you know you have the opportunity to stop it. That's where respect comes. Respect has to go both ways. Third, you cannot superficially address childhood or adult issues if they're springing forth from religion. You cannot. This is not how the world works. You can't. School is sometimes mostly a superficial representation of reality. Yeah, you can make little 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 7-year-olds like everyone is singing songs, everything's great and wonderful. But in real life, that's not how the universe works. There are different religions, there are different worldviews, and you cannot use bullying, anti-bullying, to actually solve and address childhood or adult issues. If one kid has a worldview, you can't say, oh, you can't be a bully. You know, you're using disagreement, but you're calling it bullying. You can't disagree with that person, because if you disagree, we'll call you a bully. And what you're trying to do is suppress that issue. And you're trying, it's just fake. It just doesn't work. You can't do that. You cannot address those issues if they're springing from, especially from religion. You can't use bullying, anti-bullying to, worldviews, religion, you can't use an anti-bullying, because people are actually doing it to do that. When you have bully, for instance, if you have, now this is where we have, it becomes an issue. This is where you have bullies setting the standard for what bullying is, but it's according to their personal agenda, and they're misusing the word to quash disagreement with their worldview they are propagating. This is a problem, and this is why the lies of bullying have showed up. They're like, oh, don't make little Johnny feel bad. So now anytime anybody calls little Johnny a name, they're labeled a bully, and that's no. Little Johnny might be calling them names. Little Johnny might have said something stupid, and they're like, no, you better not do that. That's dumb. And then little Johnny runs it. But listen, it's pretty serious. If you have a bully who sets the agenda, and they're not interested in equality, then you have a problem. And that's where you can't superficially do it. And that's what a lot of people in the past, this is where this lie, the doctrine of bullying, has to be corrected, because there are people who are they're labeling what bullying is based off a wrong standard. Their standard is they don't want the children disagreeing. They want all the children to live and sing, you know, a wonderful and, you know, anti-religious song and say everybody can do whatever they want to and everything's wonderful and great, which doesn't work in real life. Because you got kids, one kid's parents feeding him this information, the other kid's parents feeding him this information. And if you want to fix it, you have to teach respect, not anti-bullying. Respect is the answer, not anti-bullying. And of course, the people who don't respect, they will misuse bullying to further their personal agenda, and they will use it to quash disagreement. We want to support this particular group of people who like to do something that's like totally unhealthy. I was thinking about something that was like, you know, from one of them horror movies. But you say this group of people, they like to do it, and the school wants to perpetrate it, and their little people are inside the little congresses of the states and stuff like that, in the senates, and they're pushing their little agenda. So what they do is they create it so that that little kid can wear what he wants to wear at school, do whatever he wants to at school, and anyone who disagrees with him is a bully. No, that is not true. Because if he's causing a disruption inside the school system, if he's causing a disruption inside the peace of the school, you need to teach him that's where it's beyond just creating a law, creating rules about bullying. You need to find out, because maybe that kid doesn't need to be going to that school if he's going to dress like that. That might be a problem. I'm talking about like from a horror movie, you know, someone who's like, they live I don't want to, you know, like a serial killer lifestyle. And it's like, well, so we eat, this is what we eat at home, and it's like freaking out everybody. So I'll end with this. So this is an answer right here. Say so-and-so likes to eat raw meat, and they're in the 9th grade. They like to eat raw meat. Well, this is where you need to ask the wisdom of God. They go to lunch, they're eating raw meat. They're sitting next to there's one person, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says there's 5 people right across from them. The 4 people don't care, and the one person across them is assigned seats in lunch, and they're like wheezy. Well, they're like, I mean, what are you going to do? You need to ask the Lord. Because one, you got this kid who likes to eat raw meat. Then you got this kid who's getting queasy, getting nauseous. They can't enjoy their lunch because the person across them is eating raw meat. So you have to answer, what's the issue? Now listen, the person across, you might need to switch the person who's sitting across them with someone who doesn't care. You let them eat what they want. That's how you address that. That's one way to address the issue. The other issue, the person who's eating it. If you can't find anybody in that school who's okay with that kid eating that thing, you might need to consider giving that kid some cheese, vegetables, you know, peanuts and stuff like that, extra salad and stuff like that. Let him eat that stuff at school. And then when he goes home, he can eat raw meat, which of course the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, says you shouldn't be eating raw meat anyway, because that's where viruses, can survive inside the blood. But there's an answer for that. But that's why you have to ask God, because what if that person who is sitting across the thing is eating it because they find out that the person across, oh, you don't like meat? You don't like you don't like me eating raw meat? Well, I'm gonna sit in front of you every day. You need to be tolerant of me. That's what tolerance is tolerance by definition is becoming accustomed to pain. So you don't need a teacher who's like, well, you need to be tolerant of him. He likes to eat raw meat, so you just need to deal with that. You need to deal with that. No, he doesn't. Especially if the kid is trying to be nice and he's like, dude, that's sick. He's not bullying your kid because he's telling him it's sick to eat the what's-his-face. That's just nonsense. He can't enjoy his meal. So that's why you have to ask God and you have to walk in wisdom and stop playing around. It's not a joke. Because if you do that and you misinform children that what bullying is and what is not, when they get inside the workplace and so their boss disagrees with them, soon they'll be like, oh, you're harassing me. You're harassing me. You just don't like me. So I'm going to sue you. See, it distorts reality. It turns all disagreement into bullying. 17 minutes. It's time for us to stop. But you get the idea. Wisdom's justified of her children. So 1, know what bullying is and what isn't. 2, know the source of the bullying if you want to get to the source, if you want to get rid of the problem. And 3, don't superficially address childhood or adult issues if they're springing from religion with anti-bullying. You can't do that. It doesn't work. It creates a false reality. So, but wisdom is justified of her children is what Jesus said. So bullying and clarification amidst lies, do not be misinformed what bullying is. And don't teach your children or your friends or school associates or work associates, don't teach the wrong thing, because if it's a lie, it will not fix the problem. I love you. Thanks for joining me. Be blessed in the name of the living Lord King Jesus Christ. Live, move, be, like, comment, and subscribe.